Hello and welcome, and we finally have an update to Gunner Heat PC for the month of August 2026. And if this is your first time here, my name is Fan Fantasy and I cover tactical immersive games like Gunner Heat PC, and let's get right into it. The first new vehicle that we have is the Luchs. Not the tank version, but this Luchs that we have, which entered service in the West German Army in 1975 and retired in 2009 in favor of the Phoenix. Rather than a traditional IFV, it is classed as an armored scout car. It is a 4x4 wheel car with a 20mm cannon. The speed of the Luchs is one of the strengths, as it does boast speeds up to 90 kilometers forward or backwards, which is intended for the Bundeswehr. In Gunner Heat PC, we both have the A1 and A2 variants. The A1 has an IR spotlight and night vision sights, while the A2 has thermal optics. It also comes with the NATO tricolor woodland camo, as well as their standard color. Unlike the Martyr, the Luchs will require some bit of fire discipline, as you're not going to be carrying a lot of ammo. Plus, your main job will be doing some reconnaissance up ahead while allowing your main forces and fire support to do their job properly. It's honestly great to see that the Luchs is finally here as a dedicated reconnaissance vehicle, which was badly needed in one of the missions in the game, and so hopefully we get to see more missions where we can actually use it for its intended role. And so in this update, there are two new missions that feature the Luchs: the Mobile Spear in the North Fields and Eager Eyeball in the Eastern Roads. The next important feature is the high explosive damage overhaul. Although this is quite a surprise to us, this is one of the things that the devs worked on internally to see what they can improve on in the already existing features in the game. Previously, high explosive damage was mainly calculated through fragmentation and overpressure. While the system worked, there were several problems with it. For example, overpressure damage wasn't properly recorded in the after-action review. This meant an explosion could actually destroy a target but still appear a miss because none of the simulated fragments directly hit it. Unfortunately, terrain and armor could sometimes block overpressure, leading to strange situations where artillery could land extremely close to an infantry or even directly on a vehicle and still do no damage. Another problem was that it relied heavily on overpressure to determine the blast damage. In reality, overpressure dissipates fairly quickly in open air, meaning the old system could have actually made HE less effective than it realistically should be. So now the devs have completely reworked how HE damage is calculated. And so the results should be more consistent and realistic while providing better information in the AAR. So overall, this isn't really a buff to high explosives, but rather a much more complex simulation of how explosive weapons affect their target. The new high explosive systems should now calculate explosive damage in 3 different ways: overpressure, fragmentation, and severe blasts. Overpressure simulates the blast wave from an explosion. Armor and cover can significantly reduce it, although powerful explosions can still overwhelm weaker armor. Fragmentation has received a major improvement. Explosions now create an invisible, simulated cloud of fragments based on the type of ammunition. This allows the game to simulate the lethal radius of an explosion without having to individually render hundreds of thousands of fragments. Finally, larger explosions now have severe blasts, representing the physical destruction caused by a powerful explosion. This is especially important against lighter armored or soft-skinned vehicles that previously might survive simply because something was blocking the explosion. So in gameplay wise, high explosives is going to be considerably more dangerous. Infantry caught in the open can be devastated by nearby artillery, close explosions can damage tank optics and tracks, and larger weapons like the aircraft bombs should now be more dangerous than we expect. As you can see now, there's a bubble in the AAR that will show you the effect of the blast. Explosive effects are now registered as hits, and more details are now recorded in the damage log text. Another change to high explosives are the fusing changes. Previously, HE frag rounds simply detonate on the surface of the targets even if the armor was thin, and there are times when the delays were timed awkwardly, making it less effective and ideal to use. So now all high explosive shells should now have a short delay fuse, which would allow them to go through thin and weak armor before they actually detonate. But if they fail to penetrate, it will still detonate. And so overall, this would make HE rounds more reliable against lighter targets like APCs and even trucks. In terms of the HESH rounds, they were actually found to be underperforming since its release, and so now it should be more effective against some targets in the open. Some important features and adjustments include helicopters are now more vulnerable to explosives. thanks to the changes in this patch, and we have increased zoom levels on the BRDM and the BTR's gunner sights. We also have a bunch of fixes to high explosives, physics, and sound. Overall, this update adds one new vehicle and changes to the game's high explosives physics, and although it may not be a very important update or a roadmap highlight, it is still good to see that they're still improving the game overall, and of course there's still some more quality of life features that could be added. But hopefully before the end of the year that we get something big on the roadmap or updates to the game. But let me know your thoughts on the looks and the changes overall. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.